They said Kevin Costner never talked about it. They said the truth would stay buried, forever locked, behind decades of Hollywood silence. But at 70 years old, standing at the edge of a career filled with triumph, heartbreak, and reinvention, Kevin Costner finally decided it was time. Time to reveal what really happened between him and the legendary Robert Redford. Time to admit the role Redford played in his greatest victories and his quietest battles. Because behind the fame, behind the awards, behind the stoic calm of the man who built Yellowstone, lay a truth he spent a lifetime protecting. And today, he breaks the silence. Kevin Michael Costner was born on January 18, 1955, in Linwood, California, into a working-class family where simplicity and discipline shaped his earliest years. His father, William Costner, worked as an electrician and later a utility executive, while his mother, Sharon Ray, served as a welfare worker. Constant relocations due to his father's job forced young Kevin to grow up with adaptability and inner flexibility that would become one of his greatest strengths. He was the youngest of 3 boys, and though he wasn't the strongest or the loudest, he was the one who watched the closest, the one who paid attention to body language, emotion, and human behavior skills that later made him one of Hollywood's most quietly powerful storytellers. Through his teenage years, Kevin Costner had no dreams of stardom. He imagined a normal life, a business degree, maybe a stable job. But fate had other plans. While studying at California State University, Fullerton, he boarded a flight that would change everything. On that plane sat Richard Burton, one of Hollywood's most iconic actors. Burton didn't give a motivational speech. He didn't promise success. He simply talked with the raw honesty of a man who knew the price of the craft. That conversation ignited a fire inside Costner, a fire he couldn't put out. Costner began taking acting classes, performing in small theater productions, and working every odd job he could find. He waited tables, washed dishes, even painted sets, anything that allowed him to stay close to the world he wanted to be part of. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy. He endured rejection after rejection, each audition a test of patience, resilience, and quiet determination. Yet he never allowed the setbacks to define him. Every no became fuel, every failure a lesson. It was a slow and painstaking journey, one that required more endurance than talent alone could provide. His breakthrough came unexpectedly through the discerning eye of director Lawrence Kasdan. Though Costner's scenes in The Big Chill 1983 were ultimately cut, Kasdan remembered him. There was a magnetism, a subtle power in Costner's presence that couldn't be erased by the editing room. That recognition led to his casting in Silverado 1985, a pivotal moment that would officially mark the beginning of the Kevin Costner era. Suddenly, the young actor who had endured countless small roles was stepping into the spotlight of a major Hollywood production, where his talent could finally be seen, appreciated, and celebrated. By the late 1980s, Costner's presence was unavoidable. His role in The Untouchables 1987 transformed him from a promising actor into a household name. Then came Bull Durham 1988 and Field of Dreams 1989, films that showcased his ability to inhabit characters with quiet authenticity and emotional depth. Audiences didn't just watch Costner, they believed in him, they connected with him, and they followed his characters' journeys as if they were their own. Yet, even amidst fame and artistic achievement, there was a deeper current shaping him, one he rarely spoke about publicly. Behind the charisma and rugged heroism lay a guiding force, a mentor, a creative spirit who had quietly shaped his approach to storytelling. Robert Redford. The world saw Redford as an icon, a golden-haired symbol of Hollywood perfection. To Costner, he was far more than that. Redford represented a blueprint, a model of how one could navigate the delicate balance of artistry and integrity. Before Costner ever set foot on a set for a major film, Redford had already blazed the path he would come to follow, acting with grace, directing with purpose, and building a career that defied the superficial trappings of fame. From ordinary people to all the president's men to The Sting, and ultimately to the creation of the Sundance Institute, Redford demonstrated a vision of cinema where storytelling mattered more than spectacle. Costner observed him closely. He watched Redford transition seamlessly from actor to director to cultural visionary. He admired how Redford protected artistic integrity in an industry defined by compromise. And quietly, almost secretly, Costner began modeling his own path after the man who had mastered the balance between fame, artistry, and moral principle. Their first direct connection came when Redford considered Costner for a major role in A River Runs Through It. Though the part ultimately went to Brad Pitt, the experience was transformative for Costner. What mattered was not the role itself, but the conversations they shared. Long, thoughtful discussions about fathers and sons, about masculinity, about the American West, and about the silent struggles men face in expressing their deepest emotions. Those moments were intimate lessons in craft and life, shaping Costner's understanding of what it meant to be not just an actor, but a storyteller and a man. Those conversations stayed with him for decades. They influenced the choices he made on set, the way he portrayed characters, and even the projects he pursued as a director. Redford's quiet guidance, his subtle wisdom, became an invisible compass, steering Costner through the turbulence of Hollywood's highs and lows. Redford taught him that success wasn't measured by box office numbers or awards. It was measured by the ability to remain authentic, to tell stories that mattered, and to navigate fame without losing one's sense of self. Even decades later, Costner speaks of Redford with reverence, describing a bond that went beyond mentorship, entering the rare realm of kinship. They shared not just ideas about filmmaking, but philosophies about life, responsibility, and integrity. Costner often says Redford's influence is woven into every frame of Dances with Wolves, every quiet gaze in Field of Dreams, and every stoic, rugged performance that has defined his career. To Costner, Redford was never just a Hollywood legend. He was a teacher, a guide, and a mirror reflecting the potential Costner carried within himself. Through that reflection, he learned that storytelling is more than fame. It's about purpose, truth, and the courage to create something meaningful. Their conversations went beyond actor to actor. They were two men searching for clarity in a world full of noise. Robert never raised his voice. He didn't have to. The room settled when he spoke. Costner recalled that quiet strength guided him when he directed Dances with Wolves, reminding him that conviction can move mountains even when the world doubts you. Their connection extended to the American West, the real West, the wide open land, the solitude. We talked about the West more than movies, Costner laughed, and while admiration defined them, respect, deep, complicated, unspoken, kept their bond enduring and profound. Kevin Costner never wanted to live in Robert Redford's shadow, and Redford never tried to cast one over him. Their friendship endured because it was built on honesty, independence, and a mutual respect that had nothing to do with fame. For decades, people assumed the two Hollywood icons were quiet rivals, but in a rare, deeply emotional interview at age 70, Costner finally ended the speculation. People asked for years if Robert and I were rivals. He said, "We never were. I admired him. I still do, but I also needed to prove I could stand on my own." His voice carried the weight of a man who had lived through storms, professional, personal, and emotional. What he revealed next wasn't praise or hero worship. It was gratitude. "Robert taught me that success isn't the applause," Costner continued. "It's the integrity. It's waking up knowing you didn't lie to yourself just to fit in." That lesson mattered most during the hardest moments of Costner's career. After Waterworld, after The Postman, after years of critics calling him finished. Through it all, one thing kept him grounded. Robert Redford's example. "Robert didn't chase trends," Costner said quietly. "He chased truth. That's what I wanted to." In those few words, Costner revealed the heart of their bond, not competition, but shared purpose. Then came Yellowstone, the series that reignited Costner's career and introduced him to a new generation. As he stepped into the boots of John Dutton, he realized how much of Redford lived in that performance. The quiet authority, the moral weight, the love of land, the pain of responsibility. "I didn't base the character on him," Costner said, "but his influence is in there, in the silences, in the choices, in the stillness." And then, Costner said the words that stunned fans around the world. "Robert Redford didn't just influence my career. He shaped my life." He talked about the man behind the myth, Redford's humility, his kindness, his private battles, his commitment to mentoring younger filmmakers. "He didn't preach. He didn't try to mold me. He just inspired me to be better." And that was the truth Costner finally decided the world deserved to hear. And now you know the truth behind two of Hollywood's most honorable men. If Kevin Costner and Robert Redford's bond moved you, let us know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories Hollywood never tells, but we do. Thanks for watching.